What if I told you that stubborn belly fat is often not about how much you eat, but about what's happening with your hormones? You can cut calories, you can work out harder, you can do everything right, and still the belly doesn't move. And that's not because you're lazy, it's not because you lack willpower, it's because belly fat behaves differently in the body. And once you understand why, everything starts to make sense. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why counting calories alone often fails and what your body is actually responding to instead. I'm Dr. Nimra Raza. I'm a physician and health researcher, and on this channel, we break down complex medical science into clear, practical information you can actually use. This topic matters deeply, not just for appearance, but for long-term metabolic health, heart disease risk, diabetes, hormonal balance, and longevity. Belly fat is not just cosmetic fat. It is biologically active tissue, and that's where the real story begins. Most people are told a very simple equation: calories in versus calories out. Eat less, move more, and the fat will disappear. But if that were the full truth, then everyone who diets would lose belly fat easily. And we know that's not what happens. The real issue is that belly fat is hormonally sensitive fat. It responds to chemical signals in the body, not just energy balance. And if those signals are off, your body will actively defend that fat, even when calories are reduced. This is why people often lose weight from their face, arms, or legs first, but the abdomen holds on stubbornly. The body is prioritizing survival signals, not aesthetics. So let's go deeper into the science. This is where it gets interesting. Belly fat, especially the fat deep inside the abdomen around your organs, is called visceral fat. Unlike subcutaneous fat under the skin, visceral fat is metabolically aggressive. It has more hormone receptors, more inflammatory activity, and a direct connection to your liver. Think of visceral fat like a hormonal switchboard. It both receives hormonal signals and sends them back into the bloodstream. One of the most important hormones involved here is insulin. Insulin is not a bad hormone. It's essential for life. Its job is to help move glucose from your blood into your cells for energy. But when insulin levels stay high for long periods, a state called insulin resistance, the body changes how it stores fat. High insulin strongly signals the body to store energy, especially in the abdominal area. Visceral fat has a high density of insulin receptors, which makes it especially responsive to this signal. So even if you're eating fewer calories, if insulin remains chronically elevated, your body is being told, store fat, protect energy, don't let go. This is why many people with insulin resistance struggle specifically with belly fat, even when the scale doesn't change much. And insulin resistance doesn't just come from sugar alone. It's influenced by meal timing, sleep quality, stress, muscle mass, inflammation, and genetics. Now, let's talk about cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol is released when your body perceives stress. That stress can be emotional, physical, inflammatory, or even from chronic undereating. From an evolutionary perspective, cortisol helps keep you alive during danger. But in modern life, cortisol often stays elevated for far too long. Here's the key point. Visceral fat has more cortisol receptors than other fat tissue. That means when cortisol is high, belly fat is the first place your body is told to store energy. This is why chronic stress, poor sleep, overtraining, and extreme dieting often make belly fat worse, not better. Your body interprets those conditions as unsafe, and when the body feels unsafe, it does not prioritize fat loss. This is also why some people gain belly fat during stressful life periods, even without eating more. Now, let's connect this to inflammation. Visceral fat itself produces inflammatory molecules called cytokines. These chemicals interfere with insulin signaling, worsen insulin resistance, and create a vicious cycle. More belly fat leads to more inflammation. More inflammation worsens insulin resistance. Worsened insulin resistance promotes more belly fat. This cycle can continue even if calorie intake is reduced. And this is why simply eating less without addressing inflammation often backfires. The body adapts by slowing metabolism and protecting fat stores. Here's what most people, and frankly, many doctors, don't explain clearly. Fat loss is not just about burning calories. It's about hormonal permission. Your body must receive the signal that it is safe to release stored energy. That signal comes from stable blood sugar, balanced insulin, lower chronic cortisol, adequate sleep, muscle activity, and reduced inflammation. Now let's talk about estrogen and testosterone, because they matter too. In women, estrogen plays a major role in fat distribution. When estrogen levels decline or fluctuate, such as during perimenopause, menopause, or chronic stress, fat storage shifts toward the abdomen. This is not a failure of discipline. It is a biological adaptation. In men, low testosterone is strongly associated with increased visceral fat. And here's the problem. Belly fat itself converts testosterone into estrogen through an enzyme called aromatase. So, belly fat lowers testosterone, and lower testosterone promotes more belly fat. Another hormonal loop. This is why resistance training, sleep quality, and metabolic health are far more powerful than endless cardio when it comes to abdominal fat. Let's talk briefly about mitochondria, your cellular power plants. Healthy mitochondria burn fuel efficiently, but chronic insulin resistance, inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, and sleep deprivation reduce mitochondrial efficiency. When mitochondria struggle, your body becomes less willing to release stored fat because it can't reliably turn it into usable energy. This again pushes the body toward conservation, not fat loss. Now, what does this mean in real life? It means belly fat is a signal, not a moral failure. It's a sign that your body's hormonal environment is not optimized for fat release. So, how do you apply this knowledge practically? First, consistency matters more than intensity. Extreme dieting spikes cortisol. Overtraining spikes cortisol. Irregular sleep spikes cortisol. Stability calms the nervous system, and a calm nervous system supports fat loss. Second, muscle is metabolically protective. Muscle tissue improves insulin sensitivity, lowers baseline insulin levels, and creates a stronger metabolic sink for glucose. This is why strength training, even just 2 to 3 times per week, is one of the most powerful tools against belly fat. Third, meal timing matters more than many people realize. Constant snacking keeps insulin elevated. Giving your body defined periods without food allows insulin to fall and fat-burning signals to rise. This doesn't mean extreme fasting. It means structure. Fourth, sleep is non-negotiable. Poor sleep increases insulin resistance, raises cortisol, and disrupts appetite hormones like leptin and ghrelin. No diet can override chronic sleep deprivation. Fifth, stress management is not optional. Breathing practices, walking, sunlight exposure, social connection, these are not soft interventions. They directly influence cortisol and insulin signaling. Now, let's talk about common mistakes. One major mistake is eating too little for too long. Chronic calorie restriction tells the body it is in danger. Metabolism adapts downward, and belly fat becomes protected tissue. Another mistake is excessive cardio without recovery. This often worsens stress hormones, especially in already insulin-resistant individuals. Another mistake is ignoring protein and muscle preservation. Losing weight without preserving muscle worsens metabolic health over time. And finally, many people blame themselves instead of the physiology. That mindset leads to frustration, not solutions. It's also important to say this clearly. If you have underlying medical conditions like thyroid disease, polycystic ovary syndrome, sleep apnea, or are on certain medications, belly fat may be more complex. Personalized medical guidance matters. Now, let's zoom out and talk about the future benefits of addressing belly fat hormonally rather than obsessively. When insulin sensitivity improves, energy levels rise. When cortisol stabilizes, sleep deepens. When inflammation lowers, joints feel better. Brain fog lifts, and cardiovascular risk decreases. This isn't just about looking leaner. It's about metabolic resilience. People who improve visceral fat markers often see better blood pressure, better cholesterol profiles, improved glucose control, and lower risk of chronic disease. And perhaps most importantly, they stop fighting their own biology. So let me leave you with this thought. Your body is not broken. It is responding logically to the signals it's receiving. When you shift from punishing your body to working with its hormonal systems, fat loss becomes a side effect of better health, not a constant battle. Belly fat is not a calorie problem alone. It is a hormonal conversation. And once you understand the language your body is speaking, you finally know how to respond. If you found this helpful, I encourage you to explore my other videos, where we break down metabolism, insulin, and long-term health in a clear, science-backed way. This is Dr. Nimra Raza. Thank you for watching, and take care of your health.